Imagine you've taken your car to the local Quick Lube to get your oil and filter changed. You feel you received a good service for the price you pay, and you're also prolonging the life of your car. Then you drive down the road 5 miles and your car stops running. The engine has seized because they forgot to put the drain plug back in the oil pan. Today I'm going to show you what you need to change your own oil, tell you what the engine components you need to be familiar with, and the procedure for changing your own oil. So let's begin with the tools, or the parts and tools that you'll need. Now, according to Consumer Reports, in an article titled "Synthetic Oil Can Be an Expensive Choice," they state whatever oil you choose, make sure you use the type of oil and viscosity that's specified in your owner's manual, and change it according to prescribed maintenance schedules. Regular oil changes can indisputably make your engine last longer. Now, as for the brand, that's personal choice. I use Valvoline and Motorcraft, and I also use Fram oil filters and Motorcraft oil filters. But first, you're going to need to know what tools you may need in order to do an oil change. First one you'll encounter is a floor jack. You may need a floor jack, and that all depends on the size of your vehicle, whether it's high or low. You'll also need, if you use a floor jack, you want to use jack stands. Next tool you'll need is a oil filter wrench. And you'll need a socket, and you'll also need a ratchet to take the drain plug out. Next thing you'll also need at least 5 quarts of oil. Your owner's manual will tell you exactly how much you need, and you'll also need an oil filter. Now today what I'm going to use is Motorcraft 5W20 synthetic blend. That's what Ford recommends for the 2010 Ford Edge that I'm changing today. And a Motorcraft oil filter. It's a FL 500S. Auto Parts Store can also tell you the oil and the filter you may need. Okay, so now that I've told you a little bit about the tools and the parts, let's look at the engine components. Now I'm going to show you the engine components in the order that you're going to encounter them when you're doing an oil change. So what we're going to do, we're going to look under the hood first, and the first thing you're going to come to is the oil cap, which is right here. And you're also going to need to know where the dipstick is to check the level of oil in your engine. We'll also go underneath the car, and I'll show you where the oil pan is, and the drain plug and the oil filter. We'll do this after we get started with doing the oil change. So the first thing you want to do when you do an oil change, you're going to start the car, which I've already done all this pre the speech here. You're going to start the car, you're going to let the engine warm up. This thins the oil and allows it to drain a lot more smoothly. You turn the engine off, you're going to set the parking brake, use your floor jack and your jack stands to get your car off the ground. So the first thing you want to do, you're going to locate your oil filler cap, or your oil cap. You're going to take it off. This allows air to get into the crankcase of the motor and allows the oil to drain a whole lot more smoothly. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go underneath the car, we're going to find the drain plug, and I'll show you how to take it off. Okay, now we're underneath the car. I'm going to locate the drain plug. Here's your oil pan, and here's your drain plug. So you're going to put your socket on it. You're going to turn it counterclockwise, and you take the drain plug out. I've already drained all the oil, so we won't get any mess coming out of there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that back up. And the next thing you're going to locate is your oil filter. Okay, here's your oil filter. What you're going to do, you may have to use the wrench, but this one's, I've already taken it off, so I've got it just hand loose. You're going to spin this off. And once you get the oil filter off, what you want to do is you want to turn it upside down in your oil pan to allow it to drain. Okay, the next thing, I'm going to grab the oil filter. You want to lube the gasket up with new oil. And you're going to put that back on. Spin it right back on like that. And what you want to do, you just want to put this on hand tight. You don't want to put a wrench on it. Once the engine warms up, it'll secure it very nicely. So now we're going to go back up top. And you'll put oil back in your engine, back in the oil filler, in the filler cap. You just use your five quarts. You put that back in. I'll skip that step. But now that should show you exactly what you need to do to change your own oil. So today I covered the tools, the parts, and the components that you need to be familiar with to change your own oil. And hopefully I've shown you that anybody can do an oil change. You don't have to be a mechanic to do it. Anybody can do it. In the State Journal, they state in a article, DIY car maintenance, when you can do it at home and when to see a professional. You don't need to be a mechanic to perform this process, but plenty of drivers decide that their time and effort is not worth the cost savings. Well, this is true. The cost savings is only about $15, but the peace of mind that you get, that you know that the drain plug went back in the oil pan and you put the right oil in it and you've done the job yourself, that's priceless.